Hi, my name is Makisha, and today I'm going to demonstrate for you how to make a cake from scratch. But first, before I get started, I'm going to grease and flour my pan. So I'll just take a can of PAM non-stick cooking spray or whatever kind of cooking spray that you have, it doesn't matter.
And just use oil?
You can just use oil. If that's what you have, if that's what you want to use, you can use oil. That beeping sound you hear is my oven. I just preheated it, so it's letting me know that it's ready. Alright. I think I pretty much have that floured pretty good. So the excess flour, we just beat it off into the trash.
What kind of pan is that?
This is a 10-inch round aluminum pan, and I like to use this pan preferably over the dark non-stick metal pans because it cooks more evenly than the metal pans, so that the heat and everything is distributed evenly throughout the cake as it cooks. So I'll go ahead and set this to the side. And now we'll talk about the ingredients that we have. We have flour. Actually, you'll need 2.5 cups of flour, 2 cups of sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, 2¼ teaspoons of cornstarch, 1 cup of milk, 3/4 cup of butter or cooking oil, whichever one you would like to use, 4 large eggs, and clear vanilla extract. So first, I'll start by putting in my dry ingredients. So we'll go ahead and put the flour in.
Does the flour have to be sifted?
No. Usually I like to use cake flour or baker's flour, which this here is cake flour. And I prefer this over, I prefer the cake flour or baker's flour over regular all-purpose flour because of the density that you get from each one of them. The all-purpose flour, you'll get a really, really dense, heavy type cake. When you use the cake flour or the baker's flour, you have some density, but not too much. It's not too dry. It has the right amount of moisture in it. So that's why I like to use the cake flour. Then I'll put my 2 cups of sugar in. Alright. Now I'll go ahead and put my salt. And then my cornstarch. No, not cornstarch. Baking powder. There we go. So I'll go ahead and get those all blended in before I add my wet ingredients. Go ahead and let that get mixed in and incorporated, and then we'll start with the butter. Okay. Now I'll go ahead and add my butter in. And find a smaller spoon.
Is that butter softened?
Yes, this is softened butter. I like to try to use my ingredients at room temperature. Not really cold and straight out of the refrigerator, because it doesn't rise quite right when the ingredients are ice cold. So I found that it's better to use them when they are room temperature. So we'll let the butter kind of mix in a bit before we add anything else. And you guys might notice that I'm using a stand-up mixer, but you don't have to use a stand-up mixer. If you have a handheld beater or mixer, that works perfectly fine as well. You just have to be careful not to overbeat it with the beaters or the whisk, because if you overbeat it, that also will give you problems with the cake rising. Okay. Now I'll go ahead and slowly, gradually add my milk.
How much milk is that?
This is 1 cup of milk, 1 cup of whole milk, 100% vitamin D milk. If you want to use 2% milk, that's fine, but I like to use whole milk. It gives it a more of a richer taste, a richer texture that I like. Okay, that's the milk. We'll let that mix in before we go and add our eggs. And we have to also be sure to, well, if I can get it to drop. There we go. Be sure to scrape the sides and the bottom of the bowl to be sure to get all the ingredients incorporated and mixed in really good. Alright. Okay. And we'll let that go ahead and mix a little bit longer. Now I'm going to go ahead and start adding my eggs, but I'm going to add them 1 egg at a time, being sure to make sure that the eggs get mixed in before adding more eggs. And another way that you can tell if your batter is at a room temperature is to feel the bottom of the bowl as it's mixing. And if it feels a little bit too cold to you, you can always get a hot towel and just kind of hold it on there to help warm it up. Or if you have really huge hands, that might work too, but I don't, so. Okay, now I'll add another egg. They might have any questions that they would like to ask. Anything you want to know?
What is the estimated prep time for this?
Estimated prep time maybe about 10 to 15 minutes. Depends on how fast you work, I guess. And go ahead and add the 3rd egg. Mixing pretty good. Okay, now Add my last and final egg. There we go. And before I add my vanilla extract, I'll go ahead and scrape the bowl and the sides of the bowl and the bottom one last time. And you may be wondering why I have clear vanilla extract rather than the brown. I like to use the clear because it keeps your batter from turning brown. If you want to use the brown, that's perfectly fine. I'm sure it'll still taste just as good. But I like to use the clear. And I also like to use Watkins vanilla extract. It's a really good quality extract and it gives me the taste that I'm looking for, the desired results. Okay, I'll go ahead and scrape the sides one last time.
Seems like a lot of trouble for a cake. You can just buy a box cake.
You can really tell the difference in the taste when you make your own cake rather than going to the store and getting a box cake. Box cakes are fine. I'm not against box cakes at all. But I like the reward, the taste, and the enjoyment of others when they eat it when I make my own. So we'll go ahead and let that extract mix in there. Now we'll go ahead and immediately pour it into the prepared pan. We don't want to wait a whole lot of time in between the mixing and actually pouring it into the pan and getting it in the oven, because then it'll start to, the baking powder will start to do what it does.
You mean it won't rise as effectively if you don't sit?
Right, it won't rise quite as good, and you may even get a crown effect on your finished product because it was sitting too long. When it starts to crown, then it could get, you know, too big and then it could crack. And I mean, I'm sure it'll still taste good, but you want your cake to look good as well as taste good. So now it's ready to go into the oven for about 40 minutes or so.
On what temperature?
It's on 350 and I'm using the convection bake setting for this cake. You can use the conventional regular baking method if you like. I like the convection because it actually blows the heat around, and that also ensures that the cake is cooking more evenly than just on the conventional setting. But like I said, if you want to use the conventional setting, you can. You just have to watch it a little bit closer. Every now and then you may have to open the door and turn the cake just to make sure everything is cooking the way that it should. So that's that. That's how we basically make cake from scratch. I used vanilla, but whatever flavor cake you want to make is perfectly fine. Strawberry, lemon, raspberry, whatever. You just buy the different flavorings that you need and you'll be set. So now I'm going to show you the finished product, because we really don't want to wait a whole 40 minutes for that one to finish. So this is the finished product. A homemade vanilla cake. And I don't have my knife. Where's my knife? So we can cut into it now. Grab a plate. And there you have it. There's the finished product of a homemade vanilla cake.